Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So I felt that the weather was quite good enough and I thought that let's do a stem cutting. So this is my Echeveria Luella. The rest of the portion is kind of crested. I would say not really crested, but yes, they are very infused with each other. But I have this one that is growing quite separate from others. It has an individual stem. As you can see over here, it has an individual stem and it is kind of away from the rest of the plant. So I thought that I'll do a quick cutting. So I'm going to cut it right over here. There we go, and we have our stem cutting. So the rest of the portion I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm not going to do any cutting because it's quite infused with each other. But this one was looking quite good and it was far away from the others. So I'm going to do a quick check and I don't see any bugs or any insects. Thankfully they look good. So this is basically a double head on one single stem. I cannot separate this right now because it does not have a very evident stem, so I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to plant it separately, but of course we need to let it callus before we start to before we put it into the soil. I need to let it callus. So what I'm going to also do is I'll dip a little bit of cinnamon powder on the cut. If you have cinnamon powder, you can definitely do this. If you do not have it, it's absolutely fine. If at all I have it available handy, I tend to dip it in cinnamon powder. If I don't have it, I just leave it as it is. And now that our cutting is coated with the cinnamon powder, all we have to do is let it dry. But before that, I'll have to take out all the dry leaves, take out the tweezers and clean off all the dry leaves. Remember, as I've said, whenever you get an opportunity, whenever you're doing a beeheading, just get rid of those dry leaves. This is going to give you much clearer idea of what's going on beneath, because a lot of time the bugs tend to hide. Now luckily there were no bugs in this, so it's a very clean and a fresh succulent, but a lot of these dry leaves, so I'm going to take them off. At times it becomes a little difficult because they are very stubborn. The dry leaves, they tend to cling and it becomes very difficult to clean them up. So that's all about it, and now it's all fresh, ready to start its new journey. I think there is one more over here. Dust off all of the dust. The cinnamon powder is going to be stuck to it because the cut is usually very fresh, so usually the cinnamon powder tends to stay. No matter what you do, it is going to stay on it. So we will blow off if there is any dust. There is a little bit of dust, and now it's all fresh. We have a fresh cutting. Now I'm going to place it in a dry place, probably on this table itself, for it to dry. And as and when it tends to dry, and as and when it starts to air root, I will definitely plant it in some soil mix. So it's going to be here for another 2 to 3 days. It will take for it to callus. After that, maybe a week or so for it to root, depending upon the environment. So that's all about it. So you can see how simple it is to separate a cutting, but always remember the cutting has to be protected from any kind of moisture or any kind of water. So it has to be kept in a dry place. This is where a lot of people tend to make a mistake and they tend to end up rotting the cutting, because you have to be extremely careful. It shouldn't come in contact with any kind of moisture or water. So it's going to be kept aside. So it will take a couple of weeks for it to air root, and then we will move it into the soil. So guys, I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep planting.